This year, Aputure supercharged their lineup with the Storm 1200X and ADC, but these strong releases left a gap. Until now. This is the Storm 400X. I have never been so excited to get my hands on a new light before. At the start of this year, Aputure made my set days better with the 1200X. The locking Bowens mount is truly a game changer. Then the ADC came along and changed my understanding of what a small light can do. But since then, I've been cursed because for every time I've been lucky enough to put a Fresnel on the 1200X's Pro Lock mount, I had to put a Fresnel on my 600C's non-locking mount. And the same goes double for the cables. But luckily, I think all that is about to change. Before we dive in, this video is not sponsored by Aputure, meaning they are not paying me and they do not have any say or influence in this video. Aputure did provide me with this prototype 400X, but I have to give it back. If I sound biased, it's because I'm always excited to try new gear, and I am a big fan of Aputure lights. I own and use a lot of them regularly. That said, I am not tied to any brand, and that was a big reason why I built my CRMX control rig, which I made a video about on this channel, so I could more easily use lights from different manufacturers interchangeably. If Aputure makes a light I don't like, I don't buy it, and I don't use it. Luckily, 400X is a light I really like. My immediate affinity for the 400X was not a surprise to me. Since the 1200X came out, I've been patiently waiting for the quality of life changes to trickle down through the rest of the lineup. And after the ADC release, I knew it was only a matter of time before Aputure filled the gap. But there was a question as to how they would do it. I think a lot of people expected a direct 600 replacement, but with the 400X, Aputure is shooting the gap between the legacy 300X and 600X. So where does this new light fit in? And how does it compare against those two older lights? Well, I did some head-to-head testing, but before we dive under the hood, let's talk about some of the wins on the surface level. First off, let's state the obvious. This light is gorgeous. Aputure's design has come so far from the 300X, and this new light fits right in with the design language of the new Storm series. And all of the quality of life improvements we saw the 1200X make over the 1200D, we're seeing here. The updated cable design. Gone are the sometimes mushy connections of the LS600 series cables, replaced with this new firmly locking design. The updated ballast. Perhaps the most frustrating and confounding thing Aputure has done is put the power ports for the LS600 ballast on the bottom. No longer. You can finally place your ballast flat on the ground. And saving the best for last, Aputure's Pro Lock mount from the 1200X is here, and it makes connecting the new CF7 Fresnel easy. Speaking of, this new Fresnel is great. The form factor is much improved over the previous F10 Fresnel, and the performance is, well, why don't I just show you? Let's go head to head. In front of me, I have a 300X, 400X, and 600X, and we're gonna meter them, aka compare their light output. I am 6 feet from all lights, and here are the camera settings. Each unit has its native Fresnel on. We're gonna start with it fully flooded. We're gonna start with each light at 5600 Kelvin, full up, 100%. Okay, let's dim down this panel light and take our 300X from 60% all the way up to 100. We've got a 22.8. Switch to the 400X, 32.3. See what the 600X gives us, also 32.3. Wow. The same brightness. Is that right? That's right. That's insane. Okay, all lights are now at 4200, still full up. Starting with the 300X, we get a 22.4. 400X gives us 32.4. And the 600X, 32.4. All right, all lights are now at 3200. 16.6, 32, yeah, the 600X, 22.8. It's interesting to see, it's quite the color difference between all three is quite interesting. Okay, let's spot the Fresnels. All three Fresnels are now fully spotted. Let's go through it again. 3200, full up, 300X, 22.8. Oh, wow. I can feel the heat difference. 64, 600X, 45.2. Look at the difference in Fresnel quality between these two lights. That is a ridiculous difference. Okay, 4200, still full up, 300X, 32.4, 64.3, 45.9. All lights now 5600, 32.8, 64.4, 45.6. So that's that. The other thing you have to consider when comparing these three lights is that the 400X has the BLAIR chip. So what does that mean? Well, not only is it smoking the 300X and standing up to the 600X in terms of raw output, but it also has full plus green and full minus green. But what else does that give us? Well, the XY mode, which gives you the ability to dial in essentially full colors. Now, the only annoying thing about trying to do colors on this thing is using the XY coordinates. The fact that it can do this, right? This is the same thing we observed with the 1200X. It's very impressive. Maybe these aren't the perfect colors that you'd get from a 1000C with the BLAIR CG engine, but still, in a pinch, these are great colors. Now, I'm very curious to see how this would compare against the 600C Mark I and Mark II, both in terms of color fidelity and raw output. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Maybe I'll test it out in a future video. That concludes our test. I'm now blind. Getting this much power out of the 400X shouldn't even be surprising at this point, since we know it's using Aputure's new BLAIR chip. To me, this is similar to when Apple started making its own silicon. Once they made that breakthrough, a lot of doors were unlocked, and I think that's what BLAIR is for Aputure. I talked a little bit about the new chip in my Aputure XT52 video, but you can also read more about it on Aputure's website if you're curious. Thanks to this chip, the 400X is overpowering the 600X despite being smaller and lighter. For me, that's huge because it means the 400X is immediately poised to become my go-to spotlight unit. And that's exactly how I used it when I took the 400X on set with me for a music video I gaffed this month. Today we are on set for the Light Years music video. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it.
Check it.
Dude, whoa, Frank. Literally a baby 1200.
It's like perfect to go on a spotlight too. The 600 series units have always been cumbersome to use with the Aputure spotlight mount, and to add to that, the spotlight isn't even optimized for those units, so you're wasting some output. I don't actually know for sure that the 400X and spotlight mount are optimized for one another, but I can tell you that we used it without issue all day. This includes running it at 100%, and we never had any heat issues. We actually used the 400X in our first shot on day one with the spotlight. Let's take a look at that shot and then break it down real quick. The practical bulbs on this wheel were 3000 Kelvin LEDs, 40 watt equivalent, going full blast. I had an ADC filling in this area here, and the main key was the 400X on the 36-degree spotlight, full up. We were battling daylight a bit, so there was a moment where we were worried it wasn't going to be enough output. Luckily, the 400X's output ended up being plenty by the time we started rolling. I have a lot more to share from this music video, but it isn't released just yet, so it'll have to wait. If you're interested in seeing a more in-depth breakdown of this project, be sure to subscribe. Overall, despite the fact I was using an engineering prototype with a DMX profile I jerry-rigged to get wireless control, I was super happy with the 400X's performance, especially considering its form factor, not just in terms of the unit, but also its case, which is 25% smaller than a 600 series case. That said, no wheels on this one. But let's jump inside. Let's see what you get. Got our header cable, got our ballast cable, got our reflector dish, the ballast, got our lightning clamp. Of course, the light itself. That's what's in the case. Now let's take a look at the CF7 Fresnel. Got the Fresnel and the barn doors. For me, space is often an item, so I'm always trying to see if I can consolidate, and I'm happy to say the barn doors and the Fresnel fit very nicely in this case. From there, you can just throw your cable here maybe, throw your house cable there, and good to go. All right, I really only have two hardware nitpicks about the 400X. One is that I wish this yoke was removable. Since I already know that I love using it with the spotlight, it would be helpful to be able to just pull that off and make it a little more compact on the end of the spotlight. And then the other thing is I wish the ends of this cable were different colors. Maybe just make one black. That way you could learn and identify which one's the ballast cable, which one goes into the head. My final nitpick is fixable. I really want Aputure to add an HSI mode to take advantage of the colors the BLAIR chip offers. The good news, Aputure did tell me they are planning to add an HSI mode to the 400X. That said, they've also stated online they're gonna add that mode to the 1200X, but they haven't yet, so we'll just have to see. All in all, the 400X is a great addition to the Storm family, and Aputure should be proud. The quality of life updates alone make it a big upgrade, but then having the serious power in a small package make it a very compelling unit. I really enjoyed my time with this light, and I will definitely be picking at least one up. Okay, so one thing I didn't know when I was filming was the pricing, but now the light has been announced. So we know it is $1,059 US, and somehow even crazier is the Fresnel and barn doors for $199. So just a crazy value here, and my pre-orders are in. All right. If you want to pick one up for yourself, you can head to the link in the description. Lastly, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.